Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, our guest of the day, Armando Iannucci, is perhaps best known as, in this country anyway, as the creator of the political satire, The Thick of It. But judging by the evidence from the last few weeks of this campaign, was Armando's creation, well, was actually more fact than fiction. Let's have a look.
Right, Ben, heard the big news about Paxo. Right.
How much would 10,000 police officers cost?
We believe it'll be about £300,000.
£300,000?
Sorry,
10,000 police officers? What are you paying them?
The problem is, though, Glenn, if you say to a journalist, can you avoid that topic, that's when they really go for it. I mean, it's like saying to the school bully, I'll wet myself if you tickle me.
How many people would this give a pay rise to?
Well, this is across the public sector.
1 million people? 5 million people?
It's probably about a couple, I would have thought, yeah.
Any piercings?
No.
Yes, you do.
No piercings at all, no.
You have got some piercings.
Earrings. I've got pierced ears.
We have nurses going to food banks at the moment. That must be wrong.
We have, and there are many complex reasons why people go to food banks.
This is Paxo. What are you going to do when he pulls that big rubbery horse face of mock incredulity at you?
At the end of the Parliament, it will be lower than it is today.
But using what metric?
Well,
it's not going to be lower in absolute terms. You're going to add to the debt every year.
He's like a chicken. He's like an enormous chicken.
What's your solution? Well, one of the solution packages that we're having. My solution.
What is Britain's deficit at the moment, Mr.
If I can say to you.
No, I do not.
The answer to that question is you don't know.
Did somebody pass you a piece of paper? What is our deficit at the moment?
Not at all.
Just sounds like there was a bit of paper being handed across there.
No, not at all.
Well, that's a separate
Even though
issue.
everyone knows they've got links with sweatshops.
Wow.
What?
Yes!
You didn't answer when they asked you whether gay sex was a sin.
Oh, come on, Robert. I mean, I've been asked this question loads of times over the last few days. So see if you can get Peter to do something inoffensive for 20 minutes.
To answer this question, how much is HS2 costing?
It's about £32 billion.
32 billion? Mm-hmm. Not 52 billion?
It's over I mean...
You're here to hear, Phil. Why do you think you're here? You're here to hear.
Did you meet Assad when you were there?
I did meet Assad, indeed.
Shake his hand?
Indeed, I met Assad.
And you celebrated his re-election.
10 years... Yes, I didn't celebrate
Well, that was what the reception was for. It was for celebrating his re-election.
Nonsense.
Why have you got wet trousers? Ollie threw coffee at me.
There was no clear manifesto for what happened to, our membership of the single market or what...
Yes, there was. The Remain campaign said we were going to leave the single market if we voted out.
I'm really sorry, but Sarah only has to leave now.
That last one is amazing. Even that didn't happen in the thick of it. They didn't actually replace the interviewee. John McTiernan joins us now. He's a former advisor of the Labour Party. Is life now imitating art?
Yes, but though life was always like that in a certain sense. I worked for Henry McLeish in Scotland, and he once stood up.
He was the first minister.
He was one after Donald Dewar.
Second first minister. Yes, of course.
He once stood up in the Parliament and tried to explain why something was very complicated. He said, "Look, this isn't rocket fuel." So people have been making errors as long as there's been politics. I think the beauty of the thick of it was it became quite indistinguishable from the life. I mean, we didn't swear as much as that, but like it did describe the panics, the frustrations, those strange moments. And when the politicians, the front of camera talent, and when they're in front of the camera, the advisor can do nothing. You just kind of...
Well, except in the case of the Lib Dems, where they stepped in. Even you didn't script that bit where the politicians hold out and says, sorry, I'm the press officer.
We sometimes reject plot ideas.
Because they're too fantastic.
Then they occur anyway, so I don't know what to do now.
What do you think when you saw that tape there? Where, I mean, if you weren't who you were, but just of ordinary voter, you wouldn't quite know what was the thick of it and what was actually...
Well, that's
the interview.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I mean, as John was saying, we base it on what we see. You could take a tape from 10 years ago of political interviews and compile something as much a catastrophe as you watch now. In many respects, we have a bit of a sympathy for the politician in that they're expected to be absolutely coherent and number ready and fact ready at any time of day or night. And it's actually quite an impossible imposition to put on them.
In which case it may be better just to say, I don't know, or I'll need to find out.
Well, that is the thing. And actually the politicians who seem to score well with the public are the ones who own up a little bit more readily.
There is also now, compared to say 20 years ago, there's more opportunity to trip up. There are more news channels, more political programmes. You know, big interviews used to be quite few and far between on British TV. They're not. They're commonplace now.
That's true, but equally, the more interviews you do, the more practice you should be in answering. Interviews are a genre. Political interviews are a genre. Coming onto your show and not knowing the facts. It's just it's just like painting a target on your forehead. You have to actually read the briefing note, and so I've heard I've heard the story was that people went to Diane Abbott before she did her media rounds and said, "Here's the briefing note with all the facts and figures." She said, "I don't need that. I've got the political lines. I'll be fine."
I see. So you have to do your homework.
You have to do your homework, and you
have to assume the interviewer's done the homework, so you have to do it. But we've got 10 seconds.
OK, the problem is we're all journalists now. Everyone's got a camera phone and a recorder, so it's not just the TV interviews anymore.
All right.
I've been getting away